Alright, in the first part we covered all the sidelines of the English opening when we play e5, and now we're going straight to this main line where white played already c4, 2 knights out, and g3. So we go d5. This is a very important decision. There are moves like bishop b4 and moves like bishop c5. There are moves like d6, bishop e7, and even g6. Well, why do we go d5? It's a very concrete approach. We're basically saying we're going to play reversed dragon. You can also call it reverse Sicilian. You can also call it reversed accelerated dragon. So white have to take the pawn. They cannot allow d4. And we take back, and pretty much exclusively white goes bishop g2. Otherwise, what's the point of g3? As soon as this happened, there's some kind of tactics. Now knight takes e5, so we want to immediately remove the knight to b6, so there are no tactics. I wrote here, we must avoid all tricks with the hanging knight on d5. Okay, castle. Yes, this is castle. Main line. After that, of course, white will decide later, will they want to play d3 or they want to play a3. But they always want to have a castle. Okay, we're going to play bishop e7. And right now, this is the big decision that white have to make. Are they going to play a3 with the main line and b4, quick b4 type setup, or they're going to play d3 and let's say bishop e3 type setup? Overall, d3 was always the main line, this move. But I think with coming of English opening book, which was written by Mikhail Marin, I think this is the book right here, in the value 1. In his book, he recommended a3 for white and showed some lines where supposedly white should be better. But of course, that was in 2009. That was 9 years ago, you know, and of course, theory ever since evolved and it's really updated now. Whatever was suggested before is no longer working. I will show you all the refutations, of course, and perhaps in another 8 or 9 years, someone will find a refutation to my moves, which is totally fine. I'm cool with that. But as for time being, right now, we're going to have the most updated opening. So let's take a look right now at this d3, which was used to be the main line. We, of course, castle. And here, if a3, we're going to have a main line or transposition. So let's play bishop e3. After this move, black have many moves that are equalizing. All bishop g4, rook e8, bishop e6 are good. For example, let's go with the rook e8, rook c1, bishop f8, knight e4. All that to get here. No problem. We go knight d4. Our e5 pawn is defended, and anytime they take on d4 is super happy position for us. For example, if they take, and bishop moves to, I don't know, here for example to f4, we can just stabilize our position with c6. We can also stabilize our position with knight d5 and then c6. And we have this file. I think black is just better there. So after knight d4, knight c5. Finally, white achieved where they want to be. But what we do here, we're just going to neutralize this bishop. We kind of want to play our Slav type positions. So after take, we put this pawn on c6. This is our famous wall. Of course, in the future lessons, you will see how we deal this Slav type positions against this bishop. That's ideal pawn structure. Queen b3, trying to apply more pressure. Now we can just eliminate this knight because we kind of want to play bishop e6 and this knight is annoying. So it's time to take, play bishop e6, queen moves away, and queen d7. Don't worry about this pawn. Of course, there's pawn on a2 hanging, so they will play a3, and now we will just move the knight on d5. Obviously, the reason for queen d7 was we defended the pawn, so the queen cannot take, and we have a nice diagonal here. Queen is under attack. I put an equality sign. I know at least black is equal here. So let's say after move, I don't know, queen d2 or something. Black can play upon the d file, but I think just b6 and the bishop already have problems going places. Let's say if bishop e3, I definitely wouldn't rush to take this bishop because it's not going anywhere. Besides, this pawn may be hanging, so we're going to play a useful move rook a c8. And at any point we want to trade, we can trade and play bishop d5. but believe me, black is already better here. Okay, this is covered. Now let's go, instead of bishop e3, we will go a3 now. So d3, then a3. Rook e8, same move that we already know. We like this move. And here, white go b4. Unlike Marin suggests to play a3, then b4, and rook b1 without d3. He's trying to delay this pawn and to have influence on this file. Here we play differently. Right now we need to defend the pawn on e5 because maybe b5 is threatening, so we just move the bishop to f8. Now b5, of course, knight d4. Bishop b2 is the most natural. And a5. a5 works always brilliant. Remember this rule. Always brilliant when there's no rook b1. And the bishop on b2 will like to hit with a5. No choice but to push b5. We go knight d2. Taking is terrible for white, so they should move knight d2. If, for example, e3, trade, and fix the weakness on a3 by playing a4. Rook c1, rook a5. Queen e2, bishop f5. Rook fd1, queen c8. h4, h6. I would just call maybe these moves are maybe random, but of course, no one can make any progress here. I wrote here transpose to Grishuk Carlsen. Black won in this game. Maybe it was even blitz game, doesn't matter, but position, of course, is totally safe. I would say for both. Okay, not e3. Knight d2 is the absolute main line. We go c6. We're not afraid. No rook on b1. Take, knight takes back. Rook c1 is normal. We push a4. Again, always we like to fix the weakness on a3. Knight ce4. Rook a5, controlling c5 square. Knight c4. We take, and I put here bishop g4. I personally like black. I think this is still a weakness here. I think this is also weakness. I think rook here is okay for the time being. This bishop is strong attacking. We have some pressure here. We probably have some kind of problems ourselves, like weakness on b7. Let's say this bishop is powerful here. But I don't think white deliberately want to go here and to say, hey, let's play on this position, I'm better. I don't think so. I think this position is equal. The best line I can think of is to defend the pawn on e2 because I'm attacking the pawn. I kind of want to take e2. So maybe rook c2 and I can take d1 and then play knight d4, for example, here, like this, and fork the rook and the pawn. So if you take, I take. And now the weakness on a3. I think this position is equal. Again, maybe c5 is the move to defend the a3. Let's see evaluation. So computer was giving advantage after rook takes d4, I saw, but then I don't understand where is the advantage. Some kind of a check. Ah, that's the idea. Okay, take, king f8, and we have opposite color bishop. I see. But now black position is slightly preferred because I think this pawn is extremely dangerous. So here, okay, equal, but maybe black is playing for win. In any case, let's go back to our main line and let's play here a3. As I mentioned earlier, ever since this book, this became a main line, a3 instead of d3. Really, white not sure if they want to play here d3 in this position. They want to play maybe at some point d4 or don't even want to push the pawn. They just want to say we have enough counterplay with b4 and rook b1 and we want to play there. Okay, we're fine with that. We have to castle. That's our move. I wrote here black had other moves like a5 completely preventing b4, like this, for example. But the problem is knight on b6 becomes weak. Then the white play move like d3, bishop e3, and I don't like my pawn here because I never mind them playing b4. So let's not do this. So we castle, and of course white plays b4. Now we play bishop e6. Important move. Rook b1 is of course the best. If d3, there is no rook on b1. We have to hit with a5. b5, knight d4 again. There's no take on e5 because black will first play bishop f6 annoying pressure here. I think they should go like f4. Now king is kind of weakened here. Now we go knight b3. And let's say if you go like rook b1, I have this check. I could also maybe take the knight and then give you check. So instead of rook b1, white have to give up an exchange and play either bishop b2 or bishop e3. So we take exchange, take here, and I don't know if someone's gonna prove that this position is better for white. People tried this. Let's take a look how many people did this. We have almost 50 games, but the bad score. So Aranyan played with white, tried to sacrifice exchange like this, and I remember he did this but didn't win. So what's black's best move? Knight bishop takes e5 or knight d5? You're of course welcome to analyze this. Maybe I should show you. Okay, let's do this. Let's analyze this as I would make a research by myself. So we're going to do it together. I can look at these two moves. Here's how I study. I look at knight d5 and I look at bishop takes e5. I look at the score. 31%, 23%. I know it's a really good percentage. I click this button here, Elo Black. I want to see all the best players who ever played this with black and what they played. Then I'm going to scroll this and see. Okay, all the best players seem playing like knight d5. And I was like, okay, I like this. Let's go knight d5. I will also run at the same time engine and see what engine suggests. Some strong engine suggests you should take on e5 first. Okay, let's try that first. Bishop takes e5, f takes e5, and knight d5. Okay, we want to trade. Bishop c5 seems like a totally legit good move. Rook e8, and people played a4. I play queen d7 or knight takes e3. So let's go with queen d7. I like percentage here for black. I clearly see just with my own eyes, there's not enough compensation for exchange. You want a pawn, yes, but still white have no advantage and white should not play this position. At most they have equality. So bishop f2, rook somewhere, and cannot go any longer. You should just play chess and enjoy the position. Let's go back. I like this taking e5 and knight d5 approach. Okay, I would go even deeper, but probability of this happening is extremely low. So I don't think your opponents willingly want to sacrifice exchange like this. If they do, you know that you're better. Or you at least equal, I would say. Okay. Important line, right? About knight takes e5. Maybe I said it wrong when I said they cannot take. Yes, they can take, and that would require knowledge from them. They should know what they're doing. Otherwise, they can get in trouble. Because when they took on e5, I played bishop f6. If they don't know they should go here f4, they're in big trouble. For example, let's say they played bishop f4 instead. Without any hesitation, I can suggest here g5. This pawn is so solidly supported by bishop and queen, so there's nothing to analyze. So f4 would be moved. Maybe they find it. We'll play knight b3. Maybe I should show bishop b2 also. Of course, we take. Probably queen take. I probably want to take again, so I can close this battery. This could be annoying, you know, so I want to close it to make sure your pawn is there. And probably still play knight d5. And I'm doing fine. Is there a way like take, and some kind of a e6 at some point? Should I be worried about this? I don't think I should, because I can take. If check, I take. I mean, what are you going to take? G7? No, I'll be up a rook. If you take back here, I'll just do whatever. Give you check, play rook e8. Don't even care about this. This is bad. And if you don't take f7, let's say you play bishop takes g7, I should ask you, what are you threatening? Of course, I cannot go rook e8, but I'll just take and forget about any kind of a mate here. Probably the only move, f6. Okay, and the game was over. All right, so we are done with this exchange sacrifice when they go knight takes e5. Let's go into the best move, knight d2. Knight d2, of course, serves us the purpose to cover up for b3, and they want to kick us out, and knight will have only like one square on f5. What do we do? c6. Yes, besides the pawn was hanging, we want to kind of take care of that. c6, if e3 right now, we probably take b5, if takes first, then rook b1, makes sense to apply pressure on the b file here. We play a4 again, our favorite move to fix the weakness on a3. We also, a lot of times, preventing moves like knight a4. So a4 I like. Bishop takes c6, takes, and queen c2. f6. I wrote, some people play this line for white, but it's kind of stupid. Wow. These are harsh words from me, but probably stupid because you're trying to create a weakness here for the price of giving up your light squared bishop. No, that's not good. Yeah, I understand you have a square on c5 and everything, but you cannot weaken your king like this, but people play like this. In any case, I have a better move instead of bishop takes c6, of course, rook e1. I wrote a better move for white. And then f5. Yeah, this looks good for black. Let's see which people played this like that. We have at least 10 games. All favors black almost. Move like knight f3, going backwards. Okay. So basically going into some kind of a equal position after bishop b3. Or they sack exchange again. Or if they go queen d2, bishop c5, and I will be liking black soon for sure. Okay, I think we're done with this d3. We will now go into rook b1, this move. Let's close this. Here's what I wrote. If white chose not to play d3, it is likely we expect this move order with rook b1. We kind of felt it, a3 before trying to play on this side. We got it. So he doesn't or she doesn't want to play d3. So rook b1, that's the best move. Now, this move puts a pressure for us. We don't want to play a5 necessarily right now. Because if we do, they would push b5, and after knight d4, they probably can even take the pawn. I don't even want to show you this move because I don't want you to play a bad move. I want you to play the best move, which is f6. And now, of course, they don't want to push b5 by themselves because that just invites knight g4 and you can't even hide knight d2. So your move is obligatory to play d3. So after provoking f6, white switches back to d3 because there's nothing else to do. That is, of course, also a useful move. We want to play bishop e3. And when I say nothing else to do, there's nothing more useful than d3. So they play d3. And now we play a5. So with the rook on b1, we still play a5 because this pawn is defended and the game going into this forcing mode. After b5, we just go knight g4. Any trade always good. We already passed through this, but let's take a look. So if knight takes d4, which is very likely to be played too amongst maybe like under 1800 level or 1900 level, those who studied the book, but didn't realize they need to move the knight away. We take back and let's say knight a4, and here we should play bishop d5. We are neutralizing this bishop. Of course, if knight takes b6, we can either maybe take, but maybe there's some check, but okay, we just take back because this trade is not going anywhere from us. And now we have two pawns holding our 3 pawn. So pawn endgame could be worse, but there are problems. This bishop is not good, and this is still weakness. So let's say they play a4. I would, of course, trade. I give this check. King moves away, and I'm the first to control c file. I can also choose to close the c file and just play it on the e file. So I'm actually liking that this file is open. I'm actually for sure like black here. I want to use engine just to be sure. If black is not better, I don't know chess. Let's see. Ooh, good. There is a negative minus inside, so not a big one, but tiny bit better. And yes, bishop c5 wants to close the file and actually play upon this file. I like this. Okay, they want to trade, try to play for a draw. Draw is okay, let's say. Little advantage shows take, king f7, and perhaps just trying to somehow play upon this. Okay. Anyways, let's close this. a possible take, I would say. Knight d2. A possible take to equalize, maybe. And they have to play precise, like knight a4 and stuff. Anyways, I expect them to play knight d2 because they already played a3 and b4. They know stuff. They played rook b1. So let's give them some credit. So after knight d2, I want to show you this move, queen c8. I think it's the best move. There are other lines people played. Let's take a look. So bishop d5, people play knight d5, but as you can see at the score, only queen c8 scores well. So we play queen c8, and exclusively people play here e3. Let's close this. Why people play e3? Why it's so important to kick out this knight? If you don't, black simply improves with rook d8, and then e3 it's harder to play because this pawn. Also, black has this useful move, a4, to fix the weakness, and also, let's say, later on play rook a5 to keep pressure on this pawn. Black has a lot of useful moves, and white don't have useful moves. They have to act quickly, so they play e3. Only move knight f5, nothing else, and queen c2 or bishop b2 doesn't really matter for us. I think in the Marin books maybe they recommend through this move order, and after rook d8 attacking the pawn, queen c2, a4 is just the same as I entered here through queen c2, and after a4 I wrote rook fd8 is the main line, but I think this move is better. We're fixing the weakness on a3 and controlling b3 square. But in any case, it will just transpose one to another. Maybe I don't want to give them a chance after rook d8 to prevent a4 somehow, maybe by themselves playing a4. Actually, let's just assume if I play rook d8, can they play a4 and not allow me? I think they can. They have maybe a little drawback of allowing bishop here. I don't know how big of a deal is this, but I would still prefer to play here a4. And maybe one more thing. What if they, without queen c2, and without bishop b2 go a4 themselves here? So since they weaken b4 square, I think bishop b4 is good. If queen c2, do I even want to win this pawn on a4 actually? Take, 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 possible. I like rook d8 also here. Let's see, if I take, take, and take, where do queen go? Back. I guess I go back. I'm up a pawn. I'm missing my bishop. So probably like bishop a3, rook d8. Maybe rook f7, actually, to defend this pawn, because I'm thinking this is next. Okay, I'm up a pawn. I can play like this. But again, who will play with white a4? Nobody. Just, we're trying to go deeper, more professional about this opening, to have a feel. Anyways, queen c2, rook a4, bishop b2, rook d8. This happened no matter what. And now we have rook fc1 as the main line and the best move. And I have here rook fd1. So again, this book, right? Mikhail Marin, The English Opening, Volume 1, recommends this. So Marin's recommendation in his English C4 in his book. And in his book, he exclusively suggests for black to play this move rook a5. And I don't understand. This is just a bad move in this position. And a lot of people figured it out. And again, let's not blame anyone, of course, because that was 9 years ago. Theory was outdated. Black maybe in those early games in 2009 only knew about rook a5. But look at how many games were played with rook a5. It's only 6 versus 83 games with knight d6. And if we look at the year, there are some games, right, which people played. Everything you see knight d6 was played after 2010, 2009 in his book. Those two games, 92, 99, people played rook a5, and that was a mistake. So I understand this move was suggested based on those games, but let's forget about rook a5. We have a very strong move, knight d6. Okay, why knight d6 is so good? Take a look. We're actually defending this pawn with knight. We're now preparing queen d7 to attack this pawn. Plus, we will push it one more time, attack it after that with rook a5. So this is going to be good. Out of the curiosity, let's take a look at this move rook a5 and see what white do then. So they play knight c4. We take. Let's say if we take the pawn, they take here. We take back. They take this pawn. We go here. Knight c3. And I guess this is just a bad position, I assume, for black. And I would probably believe it. Let's just run this with engine. Yeah, this will grow up higher. I feel like this is going to be a plus. Unpleasant one. Yeah, it's growing. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. If black plays rook a5, white have advantage. If we don't play rook a5, if we play correct move, knight d6 against rook fd1, there's no advantage. So I enter this move bishop a1. This is what people play. Maybe it's not that good, but you need to somehow defend this pawn. Start defending this pawn. And even though queen d7 is possible move, I found that king h8 is slightly better. We're just giving a right to make a move for white. And white don't have many good moves in this position. What they can do. I wrote black is slightly better. No reason to go even deeper, as we don't even know if bishop a1 would be played. True, we don't know. We maybe can assume, let's just say knight goes here. This is like a human-looking move. Human-looking, but I think it blunders after take and bishop b3. And just looking by this version, I think we're figuring out why king h8 is so good. Because whenever we want to put the bishop on b3 and whenever they try to sacrifice exchange, this would not be check. So king h8 makes sense, right? What if this knight goes here? I think, again, we probably take, knight cannot take. And if bishop takes on e4, I think a3 is hanging. Can we take it? Yeah, no problem, because bishop a1 had a drawback. So you don't want to remove this knight from here because it would just directly attack a3. So what can white do? What is their move? What is the human move? What if I wasted time, let's say, and just played h4 in this position? I think then we're just going to terrorize this pawn a little bit. We can play bishop f5. Also, bishop g4 is good, actually, to provoke further weaknesses. I'm not sure which is better. I'm wondering what computer thinks. Black is better for sure here. Let's see. Computer goes h6, bishop g4, bishop f5. Okay, those moves are there and gives a nice edge. Okay, if we're better, we can just enter any move and be done with this variation. So, pretty much anything. Okay, bishop f5, let's say. Let's go back. There's no checks, as you can see, right? Because the king was smartly moved away. Let's go back. This is modern recommendation of fd1. Nothing to worry. Why I enter this move? Because if your opponent just studied that book and decided to play English and think that he's a hero or she's a hero, she or he is very welcome to do so, but you're going to play knight d6, you're not going to repeat the mistake. Now let's go to the best move, rook fc1. Of course, that makes more sense to pressure this pawn on c7. We still go knight d6. A very good move, preparing queen d7 and rook a5. Knight d4, for sure the best move. This is the right moment to try to trade this knight on d6. Now, even though my main line is bishop b3 and it goes to queen e2 and then we move knight f7, knight d1 is the best move. Rook a5, this game is forced, attacking b5 pawn. White should defend with d4. Bishop a2, rook goes there to a1 and then bishop d5. Takes, this is forced, best line, knight c3, attack bishop c4 and queen e1, and let's say rook a8. I'm just removing my rook. I went a little faster on this because I don't know if this is going to happen. I wrote there's no point to dig deeper. Probability of this happening extremely low. In my opinion, this line is one of the best for both sides. We played 25 moves in theory. This is very deep stuff. And if you're like under 2000, no, your opponent is not good to play this. This is grandmaster level. Okay? But one more thing I want to show you. Instead of bishop b3, you can play knight f7 immediately without bishop b3. This could be even better than bishop b3. If you want to surprise your opponent, you can play knight f7, then he for sure doesn't know. Knight d1 is the best move. Attacking c7 pawn. Bishop a2, rook a1, bishop d5. I'm playing this interesting pawn sacrifice on c7. I want to either way play just queen e6 here and start defending the pawn. So they take queen e6. Queen is about to be trapped, so queen has to run away. f5. And all of a sudden, believe it or not, black is actually better. Slightly, tiny bit. If bishop h3, I had this move queen g6, but somehow maybe this is not amazingly winning yet, but you have initiative. But you can play this scary move, g5, threatening g4 and win this knight. Obviously, we can't take it because we're pinned. And after g5, your opponent has to go back. We push g4, bishop f1, and say knight g5. I put equal plus. I should promote knight f7. But I don't think they're going to take the pawn, anything like that. But let's keep it as our secret. If you watch it till the end of this video, you're going to know that maybe this is the better move here, knight f7. And you're going to get into this position. Of course, I'm not sure after f5 if they like no move like bishop h3. They're likely to go, let's say, knight d2, after which we happily trade, and probably even just winning the pawn directly on d3. And again, we're better. Let's just check. I don't want to give you false information. So check. Was the check the best? Check is the best. Yes, and computer now shows big advantage. e4, take, knight c4, take d3, take d3, take c4, take e4, take e4, and yes, our advantage really grew here. Do whatever we can play. Rook b3, I guess, gives us nicest advantage. Let's just mark this. Okay, so this is it. We finished our English opening. The annoying knight c3 when they trying to prevent us to play Slav. But what we say, no problem. Let's play e5 and just play reversed dragon or reverse Sicilian type position. And moreover, if you really like this type reverse dragon, you really think you can play this super well, you can just directly play e5. And it's all going to just transpose. There's no lines where you will not play this and they will not play that. This will happen. Both knights, most of the time, just go there either way. So, if you like this more, don't even try to play Slav. Play directly e5. If you like your Slav, play knight f6. See what they do. This, or this. Go to your favorite Slav. If they go knight e3, you just go to your e5. And I think we're just good there. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.